Hello! Welcome back to D20 Sundays. My name is Ian, the part-time Dungeon Master, and I will be your Dungeon Master for today. Welcome to Have Spells Will Travel. This is all about the action economy, and when it comes to your turn as a spellcaster. Everyone hates when you have to sit there and stop all of combat for you to research each individual spell that you know in order to determine which spell you want to cast. Everyone hates it, the players hate it, the Dungeon Master hates it, because it just stops the total of everything. The momentum that was building up until it became your turn just stops immediately because you can't figure out what you want to cast. Well, this is kind of to help that. So the first thing is it's on action economy. The side with the most actions tends to win because they have the most actions. So spells like haste are always a go-getter because you give your side essentially one extra action for every player character that you can. But this is not on that, this is on your spells. So in your player's handbook, there is a whole bunch of spells near the back, and spell descriptions telling you what every single spell in the game does, or at least as far as this book is concerned. But not all those spells apply to you. Now, not every spell can be cast by everybody. So what you need is one of these. This is essentially a book that was given to me by my workplace, and it's supposed to be a journal of sorts. God, I'm losing my ability to speak. But I've turned it into a spell book that I can essentially organize all of my spells in for whatever class I happen to be playing. And it has proved invaluable to me because it allows me to organize every single spell. I've got every spell that my character can cast at that moment, what their spell description is, any material or components, whatever that needs to be required to do it, the description of the spell, the damage, the DCs, and everything. It's all in there. And then in the top corner, I have these little check marks telling me whether or not I have the spell prepared. And that's what you need to do. You essentially need a quick way to where you can check your spells to say, okay, this is what I have prepared, and this is what I don't have prepared, and this is each one that's prepared that I can cast, what they can do. And that's important as a spellcaster because you can't be stopping the whole game to sit there and read through every single individual spell to determine as to whether or not you can cast it, for one, but also whether it's appropriate to cast at that moment. Now, just so you know, I also suggest that before it gets to your turn, figure out what you want to cast. Because when it comes to your turn, knowing what you want to cast and how you want to cast it, say if it's an area effect, what area do you drop it on, if it's a line of sight, which target do you drop it on, and so on, that is the most important thing. You can't just say, oh, it's my turn. Well, hold on a minute, I need to figure out what I want to cast. Maybe I want to cast Mage Hand. That's what I'm talking about, though. You can't do that. So I normally suggest for the first page of your spell book, or whatever leather-bound journal you decide to use as your spell book, or even note cards, essentially have a table of contents that show out level of spells. These are level 0s, these are level 1s, level 2s, so on, and put a check mark next to each one saying which one you've prepared and which one you haven't prepared, and then a page number in the book as to where each spell is written. So that way you can quickly go through and say, okay, these are the spells I have prepared. I've got Acid Splash prepared. Well, that's on page 3 of this book. So I can just switch over to page 3, read out what it does, use it, and move on. That is the most important thing when it comes to being a spellcaster, is being able to quickly cast your spells in order to essentially keep up with the fighters and the rogues who don't have to do very much on their turn when it comes to dealing damage. They just have to get into position and hit it. Versus you have to make sure that you're casting the right thing in the right way, otherwise friendly fire is a thing. So, careful with those spells. Anyways, thank you for joining me for this episode of D20 Sundays. It's good to be back. It's good to be getting back on the roll of everything. And I know that at times I seem kind of but it's something I'm struggling with and something I'm trying to work through. But please take away from this video the key things if you're a spellcaster is action economy is extremely important. The side with most turns, or the most actions per turn, normally wins. Always boost up those actions, if possible, with haste. And also, Know what you're going to cast and where you're going to drop it before it's your turn. That way you can be best prepared if nothing changes between your turn and your next turn. Essentially, if there's 4 turns before your next turn, after you cast your first spell, have what you're wanting to do 1 turn before it's your turn. Some players go quickly, some players don't. Please be mindful that not everyone is a speed reader, so if you still need to take a minute or two, that's fine. Just don't take forever to go through the entire book to determine what you want to cast. It's annoying. We love you still, but it's annoying. Anyways, thank you for joining me for D20 Sundays. I'll catch you guys next time.